So we've cleared up some things, on why we shouldn't fast. We are not fasting. Fasting isn't begging. Fasting is not a spiritual flex. It's not about the hunger. So why should we fast, or why you should fast? Yeah, first of all, fasting is about focus. Fasting helps remove all the distractions, like I mentioned in the previous video, that it quiets the flesh, it starves the flesh and weakens its power over you, and allows your spirit to focus more. So you are able to hear God clearly, you are able to get more aligned to His will and in tune with what He wants you to do. So that is what fasting mainly is about. Take a look at Moses, who goes onto the mountain to to see God. Yeah, basically, he goes onto the mountain in Exodus chapter 34. He spends 40 days and 40 nights there without eating or drinking, and he wasn't trying to fast. I'm not sure he went up there saying, okay, so I'm going up here, I'm going to fast for 40 days and 40 nights. No, he went up there and he was communing with God, receiving the 10 commandments, receiving the law, and he spends 40 days and 40 nights. I'm sure he probably didn't even realize time was that far spent, because he was so full on the word of God. He was so full on his presence with God. And that's what fasting allows us to do. It allows us to focus. Definitely, the first few days of fasting can be very difficult, but along the line, you just kind of even forget that you are hungry, and it can allow you to focus more on the things of God, focus more on prayer, focus more on fellowshipping. So that's one reason why you should fast, that fasting allows you to focus. And that's the thing, the goal of fasting is not to receive, the goal is rather to absorb. It's not just to like survive, it's more of like to absorb, to focus on God. And this leads me to my second point again, which says that fasting aligns you to God's will and not your wish list. I remember approaching God in fasting, and like I had a list of things I'm fasting for. It's not really biblical, not really practical. Like, hey, I need this and I need that and I need that. So I'm fasting so that God, you give me these things. God is not like keeping a scorecard. Okay, you fasted for 7 days. I now see you are serious about this. Okay, I'm giving it to you. Like, we think maybe we are fasting to twist God's arm, to force Him to give us what we need, but that's really not it. Fasting rather aligns us to the will of God. Fasting aligns us to hear from God, to be able to receive or to be able to achieve what He wants for us. So maybe I fast and I hear a word from God that tells me to apply to a particular job, or I fast, I hear a word from God that teaches me practical things to do to ensure that my business moves to the next level. But I don't fast like, hey, I'm fasting to receive from God, I'm fasting for my business to grow, and then at the end of the fast, I just see my business growing. It doesn't work like that. You fast and then you receive a word from God. You fast and then you get aligned to His will. In Acts chapter 13, verse 2, the early church, when they decided to make a big decision by sending Paul and Barnabas out, they had to fast to be sure they were aligned with the will of God, to hear God's heart concerning that particular decision. So you quiet the flesh, you focus more on God, and you get aligned to His will for you. And yeah, that's why you should fast. And the third reason is that fasting actually teaches you what you are hungry for. Fasting is about surrender. So when you take food away, you realize that you begin to lean into certain things. For me, like I mentioned, when I took food away, I was leaning more into movies and other distractions that still kept me going, rather than replacing and creating space for God. I was rather filling it up with other things because I was just going through the motions of fasting. And that's a very big problem, because I then realized, no, why am I leaning on these things? I had to take them out and replace it with listening to more messages, listening to worship music, just being silent and hearing God, spending more time in prayer. Because fasting removes the distractions, it shows you the things you are dependent on. When Jesus said, man shall not live by bread alone, but on every word that comes out of the mouth, He wasn't just talking about food, He was speaking about dependency, that we are supposed to depend only and only on the word of God. Yeah. And here's another reason why I should fast, that fasting works better with expectations. I mean, it works with expectations. So, see, it's good that, I mean, the church has declared we are fasting for 21 days, we are fasting for 14 days or 7 days. It's good, it's nice we do that. But it would be a big loss if all I did was to just fast because the church says we are fasting for 21 days and we close the 21 days fast and I resume and go back to my life. I need to have an expectation. I need to have a personal reason for fasting. There has to be something within that is more like, not necessarily a wish list that I'm waiting on, but I need to have an expectation that there must be a change as I'm fasting. I need to have this expectation, like I'm not just fasting to finish fasting and say, okay, I fasted. No, there must be a change that goes with it. I must see myself more aligned to the will of God. I must hear from God concerning certain things. I must hear from God concerning my life. I must know from God what He has planned for me. Like there should be that personal expectation. Because if there is no expectation and it's just a ritual that we are doing, we fast and then we are done, you will just starve yourself and then, I mean, that's a corporate thing and there's nothing that comes, nothing that will come out of it for you. And there's nothing that will come out of it for you. So have an expectation that would help you greatly. Now, here's another thing, fasting is a new covenant practice, but the motive has changed. So, in the Old Testament or according to the law, they would fast to get God's attention. They'll fast to show that they have changed. They'll fast to kind of like plead with God. But in the New Testament, we are rather fasting to be much more aligned with Him. We are fasting to have clarity on His will for us. So in the Old Testament, they were fasting to get closer to God, but in the New Testament, we are fasting to be much more aligned with Him, aligned with His will, aligned with His way. So fasting is not about crying out to a God who is so far away to come and hear us, to come and deliver us. No, we are rather fasting because we want to be aligned with the God who lives within us. We want to be in tune with His will for us. And lastly, fasting is not just about what you remove, it's about what you replace it with. It's closer to the point I made earlier, that we don't just fast and take out food and replace it with all different forms of pleasure. No, fasting is about taking away our dependencies and leaning completely on God. So when we fast, we are taking out all these things and we are replacing it with God. What you replace it with matters a lot, almost as importantly as what is being taken out. So don't fast and replace food with Netflix, replace food with friends, replace food with all different. No. When you take out the food and all of that, replace it with spending time with God, spending time in the Word, spending time in prayer, because then it helps you lock in and focus more and get much more aligned. So yes, fast, but fast with purpose, fast with focus, and fast because you want to hear God more than you want to be comfortable. Not because you are trying to beg God or plead with God or receive a miracle or a breakthrough or something. No. Do it because you know deep down that something shifts when you quiet everything else and just listen to God. And that's it. My name is Caleb David. This is Strides, and have a great day. Don't forget to share this with someone, like and also subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep striding and peace out.